Hey, full-length, thanks for being here. We're going to jump into Attack on Titan, the finale.
Here we go.
Start in 3, 2, 1, go. What the heck?
Put on subtitles.
Hell no. Hey guys, what's going on? ThirdStreet Reactions here. We're back. I'm Shane.
Zach.
Brett.
For the last time, we're here with you with Attack on Titan, the finale. Yeah, it's weird to be here. We started this journey a while ago.
It's been a long time.
It's one of the first things we started on our channel with this and Clone Wars and Gravity Falls. Those three things were kind of the very first things early on. That and Rick and Morty, actually. Funny enough, we started Rick and Morty very early on, which is a hell of a great show.
Yeah. And I think it's my first series editing. It was that or
We did some Moon Knight and
Umbrella Academy too. So it was right around that time.
yeah, I love that show. Yeah, last episode, Hanji, OG character, went out in a great way. Great, solid death, sacrificing herself.
Blaze of Glory.
Yeah. Blaze of Glory.
Like a scout.
It was a blaze, yeah.
And she went out. We had a flashback for Aaron, where he's kind of stuck in his loop.
Yep.
Yes.
We had, the conversation between Armin and Annie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of them more or less getting to where they're expressing how they feel toward one another.
Yeah.
And then Annie leaves, but then she's getting drawn back in.
Yeah, with Falco and Gabby.
You know what would be interesting is they somehow flushed out that Annie was in love with Bertolt, and Bertolt maybe not had feelings for her.
A reversal.
And then, now that Bertolt's dead, Annie loved Bertolt through Armin. Wouldn't it be kind of cool?
I mean, I guess, but I feel like it's too sophisticated for this late in the show.
Well, yeah, for this late. I mean,
the last two episodes, and you have that spectrum of shit. I feel like they would have too much time.
They would have had to develop.
Or be very disappointing.
Now, one thing that did come late, although I like it and it does make sense, is the idea of the Jaw Titan maybe possibly taking a different form. Now, I didn't quite understand exactly something to do with the Beast Titan.
It was more about Annie. It said that Annie's Titan, the female Titan, was more prone to the ability of, if it ingested other pieces of other Titans, that it can take on their abilities.
Yeah.
It said that her Titan was more apt to do that.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And she even said,
you wouldn't believe
all the stuff that they fed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
just imagine.
What is she? Well, what all can she do? We've only seen her just run and fight.
That's my point. That's what I don't like about it too.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you that it's a kind of a late game.
Yeah.
Ace in the hole. It's like, oh, well, we need some way to make this interesting or to get them there.
Yeah, but this Titan has this power, and this power is exactly what we need to fix it. Yeah.
So would she get the Beast Titan's blood? His serum?
Well, whatever it is, I don't think it could be such a game changer where it's like, man, I wish they would have developed this.
Well, we found out because Falco was experiencing Zeke's memories.
Yeah, from the serum.
So maybe he can draw on that. Falco can give her some of his flesh or his blood.
Yeah.
And she, because she's been trained,
what does that?
Can access
what does that look like? Like, just you
turn,
you cut off your finger. Does it like me give you my blood when I'm in human form?
Yeah,
would that work
too?
Just slice your hand over the mouth.
Because, so that's where I'm assuming it's going, is that she'll ingest something from him, and then turn into Bird Lady.
Yeah.
And then
what if she eats Zeke? What would her form be if she was
if it gets
the female Titan and the Beast Titan?
Hairy woman.
Because you remember, what was it, season 2 or 3 that we saw the Beast Titan run with Whale and all these different creatures, and it looked like they had a heart.
I was like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah,
that's a good
never
point.
got an explanation for that yet.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I mean, if maybe it was in the manga, but certainly in the anime, besides that opening where we do see all those animals running next to the Beast Titan, I mean, that could have been a hint towards the power of what could be a MacGuffin for the show.
What it's associated with.
Yeah. Either way, this is one of the best shows I've ever watched. Not just animes.
I have to agree. It's surprisingly good. I'm not anticipating it.
Everything.
I think it's because I anticipated not liking it so much.
That's my thing. I thought it was going to be less engaging than what it ended up being. So.
Well, yeah, it's just Dragon Ball Z, I love it for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
And I'm biased, and I can say that, and that's fine. It's the most influential anime in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this show is like an engaging character drama. And it deals with concepts like time and space, stuff that I love as an adult. I think like you said, like our generation, I could recommend this to anybody.
Yeah.
We also had an emotional moment with Reiner and the team. They're all just forgiving each other, or at least accepting each other. Because there is no forgiveness.
They're accepting what they've done and recognizing that it's not that far gone from what he's done.
You did something terrible for someone you love, and you had a gun to your head and everything.
John forgot.
Yeah, because they've been killing their friends.
Yeah.
And now they're
left
killing
and right.
theirs.
And
Yeah.
Rhina, because of what he had to do and what he's been expressing, they're kind of like, okay, we relate to you.
Yeah.
We know what's happened. We should have judged you.
I kind of wish, and this is in hindsight, blah, blah, right? But they would have killed someone that I recognized a little more from the first season. It would have been like more tragic, and it would have been more like, oh, that's how Reiner felt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, this guy, I noticed it's the first season. Oh, okay, I don't remember him, but I believe you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just some guys that are like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly believe the story of it. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, it would have hit me harder, I think.
It wasn't as much on the nose that they had to kill Sasha or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Sniffing guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Sniffing, yeah.
Yeah, sniffing man. Well, they did say though, like that's how Connie turned it around and related to Aaron.
Yeah.
Because of I understand what happened with Sasha at the same and that you were hurting just as much as the rest of us.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So they addressed it.
I mean, she's a great character too.
Yeah.
I love Sasha. I mean, I know
up there.
she's goofy, but that's why I love her.
She had the good fun moments, which was nice in the show too, because you had so much bad, horrible shit eating at the beginning, and then you get some fun moments, which is nice.
Yeah, there were a lot of characters that provided a lot of comic relief.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like before we watch what I imagine will be not a very happy ending? Do you guys have like a funniest moment of the show? I got a couple.
Funniest moment. Well, I know yours are going to include the ice cream.
Yeah.
And
Gabby's
potato.
ice cream.
This is the best thing ever.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think some of my funniest moments are sometimes moments that weren't meant to be funny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can see those.
I just don't know. I can't think of a moment where I'm like, man, the first one that came to mind was the potato thing.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh,
And,
yeah, when she had it in her pocket.
Well, she was eating it.
Yeah. He's
And
like, what are you doing?
drill. And the fucking drill sergeant.
Shottus was
Yeah.
just like, he had the internal monologue where it was like,
He's
it was like an epic monologue.
He had a look of shock, and he was staring at her.
How?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you just doing this?
Yeah.
And that was probably it's from.
I like when they
intentionally funny moments.
Yeah.
Might have been.
I like when they found the ocean.
Yeah, mine was.
In my eyes!
Yeah.
John.
That was-
And then Levi was like,
way in the back, not getting anywhere near. So mine would definitely be probably when John was trying to get the meat, I think, from Sasha, and she accidentally bit his hand at the same time.
what are you doing?
Yeah. Bit him.
Yeah, I mean, just this show's got it all. It's not a comedy, but it has some really funny stuff.
All right. Well, before we get to this, then, what is your favorite moment in the show?
And then I have one after that.
Up to that point.
I mean, I got two, but if I put a gun to my head, I might have to pick Ervin's speech.
Yeah.
I mean, Levi's moment against a Beast Titan, he has two of them.
That moment was epic when he first why my Titans are falling.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It comes out of the clouds
nowhere.
right
And there's
down
like
at
blood
him.
all over his face.
He tries to block him.
Is
and
this
he fucking
Levi?
cuts his eyes. Yeah. It was. That
And
was
he covers
a great,
his nape, and then he goes for his eyes instead. Yeah.
That was a great power. That was a really.
Well, to me, it's up
really
there
great
with like
moment.
Mustang snapping his finger.
But the moment when Aaron first confronts Rhina
Oh,
down
yeah.
in that basement,
Yeah.
he's like, keep moving forward, and then he just blows up.
And it's a
just-
callback to what
Yeah,
he told
he
Aaron.
heals his
Yeah.
leg and it heals.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
And it's in slow motion, and when he
and
transforms,
Rhina's
his
turning
hair
and trying to
comes
die
up.
with Falco to cover him
Yeah.
up, and that's
that
they
was
pull right
good.
in. Like I always liked Aaron, but he was kind of like he's a little extra, and they cast the English voice actor to me perfectly because he had to pick like a kid that encompassed like episode 2 Anakin.
whiny.
Yeah, and then they had to make him
Super
like in the
emotional.
last and then that last season he has a great performance.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he sounds like the guy who plays Megatron's voice, but he sounds great.
But
Well, he sounds
in that realm,
He
it
sounds like
sounds
very
amazing.
deadpan.
You have to
compared to
fight.
what he used to be.
Yeah, and
He
it's
used to be full of life and excitable and
And it's, like,
emotional.
died down.
And now he's like deadpan.
Vader.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean,
From
he
a
doesn't-
kid to just
Yeah,
die
he
down
doesn't
to
fluctuate.
nothing. Yep.
Yeah, and just I love Aaron. I think he's one of the great characters. I feel bad for the tragedy, but I'm fully honest invested. I love him, but I'm invested in everyone stopping him.
I do think that's probably my favorite moment.
Yeah, Aaron.
When he
What-
keep moving forward. That speech he gave to Rhino.
Yeah, that was awesome.
There were great
I
moments.
like Reiner when he's
Aaron's speech was good, but
when
I
he
think
has a
that-
gun in his mouth for some reason.
That was
Yeah.
pretty emotional one too.
That-
when he jumped out of the plane in the Middle East.
Oh,
And then he slices, and then he lands. That's
like,
really good
oh,
for
these
season
damn
beginning
walls.
of season 4.
and,
Yeah.
and it
I'm
plays
tired
that
of these
new
walls.
epic
That
theme song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's an
theme
epic
song.
theme song of season
Because
4.
how tired he is. Because you get to that moment later when they first launched their sneak attack or surprise attack on Marley.
Yeah.
And he's like, why can't you just let me die in peace?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he comes back to fight him again.
Well, they really make him an incredible character. Like,
I wasn't
Very
expecting to
dumb.
like him that much. He's just like a piece of shit in the beginning because
Lots
they
of
helped break down the
facets.
walls and
Yeah.
we didn't like him because of that.
yeah. Yeah,
Which you already knew about him ahead of me because you were ahead of me.
I did, but I felt the same way. I hated him at first. Yeah,
and then when he's like talking about how bad he felt, like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, like fuck that, you know.
But then later it makes it a lot more compelling.
Yeah, there are these Jews in a ghetto and wearing armbands, and then you see what happened to obviously Zeke. I mean, what would be Aaron and Zeke's aunt? Mm-hmm. Like that's the most awful. That made me cry thinking about that, dude.
Yeah. The fat ass that they threw over the wall.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, douchebag.
Oh, another fucking great moment was Grisha observe or watch one of the powers of the nine, and he cuts himself the first time.
Yeah,
and you know,
or hugging Zeke and crying with them.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that one's.
Yeah,
that was.
I think your most emotional that I have seen was when Aaron's mom was holding baby Aaron, and Shadis was talking to her. It's at the end of the episode. That talk with Shadis and Aaron's mom while she's holding Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah.
This is a cool closing.
And when it comes to my child, I don't care if he grows up to be great. My son doesn't have to be better than anyone. After all, just look at him. He's so cute.
You can tell it a little bit.
Yeah, so I remember the part. I just don't.
What's interesting is because I'm watching, like I don't really see his reaction, so you know, you're like the Joker and the Dark Knight. Like you know us more than we know. Like you've seen those moments, right?
Yeah, you would know all the history of this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was honestly spoiler alert for Harry Potter. Starting now, that was like Snape. He was like Snape.
Shot us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Back.
I just.
What would be your most disgusting moment?
I got a couple.
That's
Was either that woman that defaulted into kid mode?
Yeah.
Or the fucking sniffer guy they got when they ate him. That was shitty when the
I've
Beast
got
Titan made
two
him.
more.
Remember the Beast Titans like
you can have him
now.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first horrible moments I
That
remember
was.
having.
That definitely was.
So that's probably why it stands out because like, oh man.
To me, Bertolt, like waking up. I mean, yeah, I hated him, but now you realize he was exactly like Annie and John. I mean, Annie and Reiner. And he's just like a 16-year-old kid. He's screaming for Annie, like he loves her. Mm-hmm. And then but also
watch Titan Armin just dropping him into his mouth. Yeah,
like in Sasha's episode, which is actually like one of my favorite episodes, when she's back in her little village and there's
saves the little girl.
Fucking that one Titan that's like 10 feet tall, just eating that woman's leg, and she's like
slowly,
she's still alive.
Yeah, and she's just horrified. Yeah,
it's in shock.
Yeah.
So the one I'm thinking of is the last time I was here, season 3, when Historia's dad.
Yeah, I think I was
becomes that slug.
That might have been the most.
Yeah.
Like because I was the screen.
That transformation was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was most disgusted there, but I was disgusted / horrified at the ones I just said. But that when he gets up, and all the fucking goo and shit.
Well, part of him is gone.
It just falls and slips off his face.
Yeah.
No mouth.
Just desperate to eat these fucking
intestines sticking out.
I didn't mean so desperate to eat something.
Now, what about the...
Yeah, imagine that.
Last night when I was like eating a cake and Brett turned around and he doesn't say, he just like... Just looks at me. I'm like starting to laugh. Yeah.
So what about the one... What's the general's name that got blown up in front of Mikasa?
Zachary?
Yeah, in his chair.
Premier Zachary.
In his chair.
That didn't disgust me, but it surprised me. I'll tell you what disgusts me is what Premier Zachary likes to do in his free time.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, the chair itself.
Okay.
Yeah,
like what do you put the fucking guy in there?
Chair, he's upside down and...
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you found Hitler, like
bad.
I get wanting to do that, but I just don't think, I just would rather kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so top 3 favorite characters for me, I don't know. I mean, this show does such a good job that they flesh out the minor cast, like Jean, Sasha, like to make them all like, oh, I love them too. I'm going to say Aaron, Erwin, and Levi. They have the best moments or the coolest storylines.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, what are yours?
So mine would probably be Hanji, Levi, and Mikasa would probably be my 3 favorites.
Mikasa, yeah, okay. Yeah, those are good.
I had to say mine are probably like Rhina first.
Oh, I love Rhina. I forgot about him. Damn it!
Yeah. I think Rhina is probably my first pick.
All right, Mikasa, Rhina. I'm splitting that one for 3.
So it's Rhina, and then probably Aaron.
What about Kenny?
Kenny, I felt like
he's that gunslinger.
Everyone thought that I would like him a lot more than I did.
If he lasted longer.
If he lasted longer.
Yeah.
I like how he went out.
Yes.
Like he went out like a boss.
For what he was here, it was very
he had a strong...
He had the chance to turn himself into a Titan and keep living, but he's like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
I didn't want to be mindless. I thought I was going to be an actual Titan.
Yeah, he just died.
I didn't know it was going to be like this.
So I thought that was really cool. But
his own.
He wasn't around long enough for me to really like him. He's just kind of muscled. It was cool.
Yeah.
But that yell by Levi too. Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, it was really great having him around,
awesome.
but he just didn't really.
Also, one of the best. Okay, we go after, but you go ahead and name your.
I don't know if I have three that are the ones that really stand out. Ryan is probably my favorite, and then Aaron. As far as number 3 goes, I don't know. I used to like Armin a lot, but
Pick 2.
I've gotten away from that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I like Armin. He's a different kind of person in the 4th season.
He is.
Yeah.
But to me, overall, though, I mean, he's still the same person. He's still Armin.
What about Shadis or the general from Marley? I can't think of his name. The one that
Magath is great. Yeah, I end up.
Magath is cool.
Yeah.
Those 2 voice actors. Perfect for those 2.
The voice actors, they have some of the best voice work. Like just playing the cool old grizzled guy.
Oh yeah.
It's like you get an easy job that's very thankful, and Aaron's is like thankless until you get to the last season.
Lots of range for the voice actors in this show too.
Yeah,
lots.
The show benefits from having like amazing characters, like even ones you hate, you end up loving. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of things I've watched. Like Alchemist is up there.
That's a movie. That's just a show that they did in the comic.
In terms of quality,
fleshed out the characters so well.
Yeah, in terms
They're very
of
human characters.
I haven't read the comic, but in terms
with the
of
exception of like 2, like Gluttony.
Yeah, when you ground them, it makes it a lot.
Gluttony and Sloth were the only ones that are okay. They're just.
I don't want Gluttony
here.
I haven't watched it yet.
Well, my point though is that they're the only 2 that were just kind of. That one eats things. This one digs a hole.
Yeah,
and that's all they did, and you never get them fleshed out.
Yeah,
everyone else in the show though.
Yeah,
did. Like they were very human, very like even Lust and like some of those characters.
Yeah,
like they had the conversations to a certain level. They kind of even them out. I mean, the guys like Gene Havoc, and everything. I mean, he wasn't like deeply fleshed out. But his moments in the hospital and shit, like he was very good comic relief, and the moments in the hospital were really good.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. Yeah,
but there's so many characters, such a big cast that's well done.
Well, that's why I put this up there with that in terms of like anime that I think is this compelling character drama and incredible lore and mythos. Mm-hmm. Like it's just I mean, this is the last show that I thought was gonna give me lore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I thought it was just like these fucking things eating people. And not even like they're disgusting. Like the promo material, it's always like the Colossal Titan. You know what I mean? You don't see the other shit. You know what I mean?
You don't. We just want to have the big fucking skinless man.
Yeah, and here's a question I have. So the female Titan, is that the name of the Titan? Like if a guy...
Yeah, she's the only one that doesn't have really
like a attack
Titan or...
There's not like a job title.
Can only a girl inherit that power? That's a question.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
It's the only one that has any female
what would Mikasa look like?
Kind of badass.
I'm sure someone's done the artwork.
Well, it's like it's the only one that has any female attributes because all the other Titans are unisex.
Flat,
yeah.
They're just
the Burt Reynolds one, the one that looked like you.
What's really funny is when Reiner said Titan's got a nice ass, though. It's probably him and the other guys were joking around back in the day about it.
Yeah.
What if Reiner ended up with Historia like he wanted to? I'm gonna marry that girl one day. What if we get that at the end for his story?
He's a Titan though. He's only got so much time left.
I feel like he might
get the happy ending. Maybe.
He might.
He's been wanting to die for so long.
Yeah, like Metal Gear Solid 4, like one thing I love about the ending is like he's going to die in like 6 months. But he just goes off.
Well, his boss tells him, just go live.
Yeah. I wonder if the manga does anything different, but Historia was completely absent.
I'm tired of calling it manga. It's called a comic. That's what it is.
Manga.
It is technically called manga. But for me, like the good medium ground is it's a fucking comic.
Yeah.
So...
Well, but the idea of Historia was like very absent from this season for the most part. I know she was in it, but like she was like a very important character.
Who's the dad?
Mm-hmm. She's the queen. You know what I mean?
Well, no, she got her. She got hers.
Yeah, she got the queen. That's what she wanted.
Yeah,
you know, like she said, I have to be the one to do this when she killed her dad. That way, the crowd and everybody gathers around me.
Yeah, I guess I thought that would be more prominent, but in reality, like there was a deep state that thought about taking her. You know that if they wanted to, they would have forced her to bear children and everything else.
Who's the dad?
That's the question I have. Maybe
I don't know if it's ever going to be answered, though.
Yeah, it might not.
I feel like if they haven't made a big enough deal out of that for it to be answered.
Yeah.
Like, it's just some asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's literally just some asshole.
Yeah.
I'm the one that got her.
Yeah, I got the queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I did before that? Just cleaning stalls.
Yeah,
shoveling hay.
Shoveling shit. And all I had to do was throw a fucking turd at the princess, the queen.
Yeah. You know? No one ever did that, so of course she liked me because they're fucked up. You know what I mean? Okay, guys, that was our pre-talk, the last one before we watch the last episode of one of my favorite shows. So go to our Patreon. We're going to have the full-length uncut reaction over there. We're also going to put the actual reaction on there because we do not put it on YouTube because it's anime and we can get our channel taken down.
Do it.
Yeah, just make sure you stick around for the post-talk and stick around. Zach and I will pick up something after this. We don't know what it is yet, but, maybe we'll put up a poll. Anyways, guys, let's jump in.
God damn it. All of them?
That is just a horrible thing.
Guy in the tower.
It sucks for that guy. Oh, damn it!
Guys, that was a reaction. This of our, the final reaction, final episode. This is our review. Ultimately, I loved it. I mean, there's a couple parts where I thought I was just kind of asking questions. I kind of thought they were talking a little longer. But ultimately, I loved it. Loved the show. And it was kind of a sad, pessimistic way, honestly, the way it ended. Like,
I mean, it's an honest way to end. Things ended well for them in their time.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And it's showing you that it's a cycle of humanity.
Yeah, humanity's going to fight and kill each other. And
To the end of time.
And their actions...
Destroy, recreate.
Yeah.
And their action... Aaron wanted his friends to live long lives. And he was able to do that.
Yeah.
But in terms of... like the nationalistic way that he presented his views in the last season wasn't, we knew early on that he didn't care too much about that, and it's very clear now that he understands you can never stop the cycle unless you just wipe out humanity in general.
Mm-hmm. They gave him a long time because you knocked it down to 20% of humanity.
Yeah.
So
I'm disappointed.
There's a very large area of grace there when
Yeah.
humanity could really bother worrying about one another again.
Yeah.
I mean, he did say at Parody that they started becoming very militaristic.
Yeah, they came to this nationalist place. I mean, obviously his friends lived long lives. They were allowed to get in, not be killed, and even visit the inner wall.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Because it went back.
and it looked like they went there a couple times because they showed him leaving and coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually she died and was maybe buried at that place. Or she was buried with a scarf.
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you think, Brett?
Yeah, that scene definitely got me at the end. That just her talking to Aaron.
Yeah, that's a great
that she loved him, and then come to find out he loved her, but never said it. And
because they even had that talk, the past talk, right?
Yeah,
where he said, or not past talk, but the talk he had with her that he made her forget until later.
Yep.
Yeah,
where it's like they were living together on the run.
Yep.
Yeah,
because if she actually had said something about how she felt when he asked her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that scene was pretty emotional.
It was and it was just like I imagine like maybe the manga went over it more. I'd be so interested to see what everyone else like he made them forget and the stuff that he made them remember again and the conversations.
Well, Pete didn't get shit.
Yeah, that was actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Honestly, it went similar to how I thought it would go. I kind of thought we wouldn't get all the information, but like, hey, you know what? Parody is like they're going to become the very thing that we hoped that they wouldn't become, and eventually you're going to see literally the cycle of humanity. It's pessimistic, and it's going to continue. Mm-hmm. And their actions Aaron's actions when it came to like for the rest of humanity, the rest of time, like his actions didn't have a huge effect on what we would always continue to do.
Now it's been said before by someone, I don't know because I can't credit them right now because I don't remember who said it, but that art is often it's a reflection of life. Mm-hmm. It's a reflection of reality in some way or another.
Yeah.
You look at Lord of the Rings and Tolkien writing it. There's a lot of Roman Catholic influence on Lord of the Rings because he was a Roman Catholic and he put a lot of that lore, we can say. Formed a lot of the lore based off of his religious beliefs. Kind of what the show's about and the message. And I've noticed a lot of similarities with that ultimate message that you get at the end. Mm-hmm. Like when you're talking about Metal Gear Solid with Old Snake. You look at a lot of the themes in Metal Gear Solid about how your enemies aren't necessarily always going to be your enemies. They're just like they're a product of the times. Yeah,
it's like their turn.
Yeah, and then that's kind of similar to what you experience here with the cycle of atrocities and forgiveness that they're all going through. Yeah. With how I realized I shouldn't have judged you. I'm sorry. And then Armin coming around at the end saying, "Look, I realize now that we did this together. I'm just as much to blame." So
And it was all very beautiful in that way, because it's like we can't, in the rest of the world, we need to be the best people we can be and forgive each other and understand that we did terrible things, you did terrible things. We can forgive each other and we can live a long, happy life. But the rest of the world, like, they're going to do what they do, kind of thing. That's how I kind of got from it. Was like Aaron, he couldn't control everything like he thought he could, you know.
Yeah. I think he kind of tried to leave it better than what it started as, or where they were at. When
it's kind of like what Doctor Strange experienced. Where he's like, there's only one chance.
And like, I can't tell you that chance.
Yeah, every future that I've seen, I've tried to change it. There's only one chance that this will work.
And that's what he said,
and that's what he did.
Yeah.
And so he had to go through with it. He had to do it. He had no
tried
choice.
to do it and tried to do it and tried to do it. This is the only way it happens.
And all his memories of the future. It's the only way out.
And I feel for him, honestly. You know, because like when you think like he's getting the past, present, and future just all mixed up. Yeah. He sees everything and he experiences everything.
It's such an info download.
And I just, with our noise, with our the way we comprehend reality, it's incomprehensible.
It's bad enough as it is.
Yeah, and two more.
Let alone if there's multiple versions.
Well, I can't imagine it creatively or intellectually because it's just impossible. You know what I mean? You just kind of speculate like how he's comprehending past, present, future all at once.
Yeah,
and having to make decisions based on that, and
there'd be a lot of like context clues, comprehension involved, like where you're at in terms of the time line. And what you're experiencing. Yeah. Because, where people are at, how old they are, where the memories are.
Yeah. What they've went through.
So, I'm not saying it'd be easy by any means.
Yeah.
But artistically speaking, I don't think it's too far-fetched to be able to comprehend some part of it. Mm-hmm. And what it would really mean for a human mind and consciousness to experience it, on the other hand, is probably too much to bear.
Yeah, it's like
overload.
Crystal Skulls. Does that happen to...
No, that was Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. Happened to her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I want to know.
Yeah, and you knew.
Well, Paul Atreides and Dune, I mentioned that. That's kind of the idea of prescience.
Okay.
That he gets, is that he can see into the future. And at some point, that involves the past as well.
Yeah.
Thought I heard kids out there again.
Oh, there's a lot of thunder.
The prescience and the idea, like seeing the past, present, and future, and that theme is explored in those books about how it's to be able to comprehend that and what it means ultimately to recognize that you're, like Aaron's case, he was stuck on that path.
Yeah, he was stuck.
He could not veer from it. Nope. He knew it was the only way, and it kind of ends up being similar in Dune. So I wonder if they read Dune. Somebody did.
Maybe, yeah. You know what's interesting? You talk about the different themes of like art as a reflection of life, and so we had like strong World War II elements, especially
very strong.
Well, I was thinking of the Nazi thing, right? Mm-hmm. And then when it came to probably that, maybe the view that this culture, some people in this culture might have, having been so closely connected to that, as like the cycle of violence that it cannot be stopped. That they might have that view. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the author might have the view of that. Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's probably true. I mean,
I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah,
but because that's not the reality I want.
Yeah, I mean, our country's been at war like 95% of the time that we've been a nation in some way. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And that's not what the founding fathers, at least Washington, what he's been quoted by. Yeah, they envisioned for us being tangled up in the old world. Yeah, their old strifes and hatreds.
Yeah,
but we did.
Yeah.
But you guys,
the cycle.
You guys just couldn't fucking play nice. So
yeah, I kind of want to see how everyone felt about it. I mean, I can talk more about it.
That was a good one. I thought that some parts were a little
long-winded. I thought
long-winded.
I thought his conversation with Aaron when they're in the water could have been about half as long.
Yeah.
Well, when Armin was trying to struggle with himself.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Oh, well, she could end up with me and smiling and.
Yeah, I thought I was like I didn't need humor at that point, and I didn't. I mean, I know Aaron loves her. He's never said it. The way he chose to express it was a little goofy. Mm-hmm. I didn't need that. That choice was not my favorite choice. But
which then is a human part of him, though.
Yeah, it's still a good conversation between.
Yeah, I like the conversation.
It does bring it back to the fact that they're childhood friends. Yeah, it brings it back to some realism because instead of him just being, oh, honest. I love her, but I can't do it. All of a sudden, he's like, oh, God, and he breaks down. He has this human moment where he's having a conversation with Armin before it all goes down.
That's a good point.
And then
he finally just comes out and says it. It's like, I want to be with Mikasa, but I can't.
Yeah.
And that'd be a hard fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, he was talking with Armin in the water.
Yeah.
So then he wiped that from him until he died. Then all those memories of his talks came back to all of them.
Yeah,
That's just such a flood of talk.
Yeah. So I was so curious. At first, I didn't think the stuff with Mikasa happened at all.
Yeah.
And then I realized it did, and that just is terribly tragic. It's such a lonely life.
Yeah. For Eren or for Mikasa?
Certainly for Mikasa, but for Eren, to understand there's only one way forward, and I'm going to give you this information, but I have to wipe it.
Yeah, and you guys aren't going to know until I'm gone.
It'd be a very miserable existence because I mean, you know me. If I feel a certain way about somebody, and you can't be with them physically, it sucks.
Yeah,
It's like, so you think about that, and not only could she not do that with him, but then she gives the rest of her life.
Yeah,
just visiting his grave.
Yeah, over and over and over.
They just have a tragic story. It's ultimately because the way Eren views freedom. You know what I mean? The part where he said, I just did it because I wanted to.
I think it's him being melodramatic.
I thought it was him being melodramatic and not completely honest. But also his view of freedom wasn't national. It wasn't kind of tied to Paradis as much as it was tied to his friends, I think. When all the military shit started happening, I think he was kind of resentful of it.
Yeah.
He just happened to be a scout. Because at first, when he was young, he made that choice as a young person.
Yeah. He would go kill Titans.
Yeah.
Well, then you also found out that he redirected that one Titan that ended up eating his mom.
Yeah.
So he was the author of his own pain.
Right off the bat.
Because he knew Bertolt had to live.
Yeah.
So.
And it just in the cycle of
butterfly effect.
It's just horrible.
It is. I wonder if,
The level that this man was thinking about everything was, and I'm not sure if the author was a man or woman, but it's hats off. One of the best stories. Great ending.
I can look it up. I can find out.
Yeah, I think it was a guy, but I always mess it up with MHA, or not MHA, but
FMA.
FMA, yeah. So I want to give credit where credit's due.
Hajime Isayama.
Isayama, yeah. Actually, I've seen it Isayama.
Yeah, I've written out too.
So the headaches were from Ymir, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But anyways, back to Eren. So when he was a little kid, would he just from the future come and enter into his past self to have those conversations? Because I don't buy that the whole time we knew Eren, he was completely aware of everything. He first got that.
No, what happened is he went back. It's in their minds because when Armin was on that boat and he was talking to Annie, that was before Eren died.
Yeah.
So he just got done. He came out of it. They just had the conversation in that little world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just where they had it. Just like with Mikasa, is probably that's just how he represented it to her in their mindscape or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So they didn't actually go back and talk to her when she was a kid.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It was just them having a conversation. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah. You're right. I mean, I think when I thought about it again, when I was overthinking, I was thinking that he decided to touch back on different parts of their lives and talk that way, but it said he was just represented that way.
Yeah.
To us as children.
Because usually the conversations he had with Mikasa, the ones that ended up being important, weren't the ones that when they were kids. They were when they were adults in that cabin.
Yeah.
And because this is what would have happened if they did run all together.
Yeah.
And it would not have been that great of a life. I mean,
I
guess they would have had a little more than what she ended up with, but maybe it wouldn't have done very good for people. Yeah, because Marley was counterattacking.
For my 4 years.
Yeah, Marley was counterattacking, and they were going to attack the island anyway. And that reality.
Yeah.
So it was showing you some of those realities with those two together.
Okay, yeah.
So the island was going to be invaded.
Yeah, because I kept thinking, what if he just... Killing himself would have done nothing. I mean, Paradis would have just been invaded and everything else.
We had Levi got his moment.
He got a moment.
Cut fucking Zeke's head off.
He did, yeah.
Zeke standing out.
Yeah, I mean, Zeke kind of gave himself up for it, but I'm kind of glad he did. Zeke...
Well, he realized that there's more to life than just, the data.
Yeah, and the war and just...
That's gotten me before. It's like, if this is all... when I was really fucking drunk all the time.
Yeah.
And just looking at, this is all it is. It's just data. We're just doing this shit over and over again. What's the point to having, like he's talking about with that, I don't remember the guy's name, with the glasses, like catching the ball together.
Yeah, his predecessor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's what gave him some happiness in life.
Yeah.
And made it.
I could just been playing with this ball.
Yeah, so it's not just the hard data and the multiplication and the,
the
endless proliferation of the race for survival.
Yeah.
And the bloodshed and all the violence and all the fucking vicious cycles. It was just like, I got to have that moment.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up, he comes out, and he's like, man, it's a beautiful day today. I wish I would have recognized
I noticed that then.
I wish I would have stepped back and took it in a little bit more. Than
I've noticed that about myself lately.
Yeah.
Like, I looked up in the sky, like, man, I never look up in the sky anymore.
Yeah.
I never look at the stars anymore.
Yeah.
I never look up and notice how blue the sky is. It's just something I don't hardly do anymore in my life.
Yeah, what's funny is I didn't do that. It wasn't until I was like 30. That's when I started
You're
doing
full of shit. When we were kids, we used to do it all the time. Yeah, but you and I, when we were younger, I know we did. We used to sit out on the fucking chicken coop.
Yeah, but I guess
bullshitting all night.
But I didn't do that with anyone but you, and I didn't do that after you were gone for over a decade. You know what I mean? It wasn't as important. And then I realized later, like, shit, it's actually beautiful. It's amazing. I can't believe I didn't. Like, now I'll take pictures of sunsets, and before I would just draw. Oh, that's nice. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, my thing.
Now I'm like super appreciative of it now.
Well, there's times like I was like tonight when I was walking back to the house. One of the times I looked up and just looked at the sky. Like I never do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, something's been robbed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I try to do as much as I can. I've always kind of done that too.
Yeah.
Especially stars.
I appreciate nature.
Well, I'm usually my thing is I'm usually not up that late.
Yeah.
Too. I'm usually in bed by then. And I don't look at them.
Oh fuck! It's getting dark. Gotta go to bed.
Yeah, but when I get up in the morning really
so.
early, I can see them then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the late nights, seeing the moon, shit like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty special. You know?
How do you feel about Zeke's arc now?
I thought it ended well.
Yeah.
I said that about Flock too, but that's because I'm just trying to give Flock some credit.
Yeah.
In the end.
Well, I mean, he just went out. I mean, what a manly thing to do to hold on that long.
I'll give him that.
To have that resolve.
But, and with Zeke,
he went from a man who
was
concerned about his own life to being committed to a cause beyond himself.
Stuck to it all the way to the end.
I didn't like the cause, but he did. He died for it.
And Zeke, I feel that I like that he learned that appreciation. That was actually a pretty human moment for him. Mm-hmm. So it was cool.
Yeah.
Levi did not hesitate.
No, he did not.
That heartbeat in his
eye.
Hey, Levi!
Yeah.
Just naked there.
That was good. Hey, Levi.
And let's see who else. I always honestly expected more people to die.
I did too. I thought a
from
couple
the main
more.
cast.
Oh man, I definitely.
I kind of too, but I'm very happy with
I thought
what
Peak would
happened.
die because Peak's just been kind of floating under the radar.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Which was awesome that she could just keep coming back.
Yeah, how'd you feel about that in terms of her power?
I thought what he said makes sense.
I thought it was on par because she can go a month, 2 months,
yeah, at a time.
So that kind of why wouldn't she be able to do it over and over and over again if she can sustain it that long?
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
Hundreds of times or 100 times.
That would be very useful.
I will cry foul on Falco.
Falco, yeah, that was pretty quick, but
yeah,
he hasn't been trained really.
Yeah. I love how determined he was.
Falcon.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Falco?
the wings were really cool.
Yeah,
I like the colors.
Green,
I'm not a huge fan of the Titans that have really tiny heads and big bodies.
Yeah,
like the Beast.
He had that long.
The way that sometimes
the Colossal's like that too.
Yeah, you're right. The Beast sometimes he's drawn differently. Sometimes the Beast is drawn with normal proportions. Yeah. Sometimes he's drawn. I mean, I think the Colossal.
But the way that we fundamentally see them in this show.
Yeah,
not fundamentally is not the right word, but the way we normally see them in this show, there aren't that many of them that are somewhat proportional. The Attack Titan was.
Yeah.
Aaron's was.
Yeah.
The Warhammer was.
Annie, and
Rhina. Yeah. And everyone else.
Jaw has bigger heads, smaller
bigger head,
big shoulders.
He's got like an animal.
So, what'd you guys think of all the different?
I love that.
That was cool.
Different
that was
Titans on there.
A nice thing to show us.
Yes, that was really.
Imagine a snake one. God, that's terrible.
It's snapping turtle, and then they had like an alligator beast one.
So I wonder if it just kind of reflects. Obviously, the person and their experiences must have a lot to do with.
Yeah, and what their Titans looked at before they got eaten.
Yeah,
so I guess that's like how
they've all had different.
They never really explained how Zeke's ended up the way it was.
I mean, he threw the
baseball.
long
arm through the baseball, so they give it that.
I guess that's true, but they already knew.
But why?
Didn't they know before that the Beast Titan was good for that purpose?
No, because the Beast Titan changes. So we saw a crocodile, we saw a turtle. That's different beast people that have been those Beast Titans.
But I think I think what you meant is like the predecessor said that.
Yeah.
But the predecessor also might have been saying that based on his experience, and he threw the baseball too.
Yeah.
So maybe it rubbed off on Zeke.
But he also said he wasn't very good at the job.
Yeah, wasn't the predecessor? He was like the ram, because
The
Colossal was holding the ram, and then the ram was holding Armin at one point.
I never think about that.
So I don't know. Because they brought all them back to help fight.
I like the ram, though. I like rams.
Yeah, the ram was pretty cool.
Rams are cool looking.
Then there was a Viking one. He had like a Viking hat and horns on his side. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, the Warhammer Titans.
Yeah.
Those are really
that's
cool.
a sweet one.
All the ones that form the weapons and shit.
Yeah, I like it.
That's it's the coolest fucking name for a Titan. Yeah. It's so underused.
Yeah.
Warhammer?
Yeah. It got used a lot here.
It did, finally.
It did the most.
But in terms of the series,
you one time.
You literally see it one time.
Yeah.
And then he eats it.
He eats it.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah.
It was there to be devoured.
It made for it up.
Would you have the constitution to see what Aaron saw and go forward the way he did? I think he felt trapped in it, but he had to take the first step.
There was no other way out.
Yeah, if there was no way out and he saw all other outcomes.
You just have to go with it.
Yeah.
There's no way out.
You are the vessel of fate at that point.
Which
sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, because we got those answers, now I don't look at him as much as a villain as I did.
No,
I look as a person
he was
that
very
knew
sad at the shit he did, especially with that little kid that he was talking with.
Yeah.
With Jules.
Yeah. You look at the end of it and how he discussed that discussion he had with Armin.
Yeah.
And you could tell the very human side and how he was trapped in fate.
Yeah, it really was like...
You have to do this.
He was stuck.
He was like a Yabu.
Not quite like Yabu.
Yeah.
But Yabu just kept trying to fucking squirrel out of there and he was just stuck.
Yeah. Well, Aaron tried looking at different realities.
Aaron was he was the harbinger of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just realized there was no other way.
Yabu and a harbinger.
What's that?
Yabu was in a harbinger.
No.
Yabu Shige. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think Aaron's more like the vessel, like all the machinations that are pulling his string. He has no way.
The thing that's representing kind of life, the beginning of life, I think, that centipede thing, the visuals that the show was giving us of the whole team that spent 80% of the show trying to kill each other, teaming up, almost powerless against that thing to try to stop it. Like Reiner,
holding it back and how
big it is.
It
was a beautiful thing. Like Reiner, Annie, and Peak that were brought there to destroy, like being one of the few that was trying to hold it back.
Yeah,
I fucking loved it. I hated when those Marleyan soldiers were...
Yeah, they're going to shoot him. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, show us evidence now.
Yeah.
And it just... I thought it was... I mean, I understand maybe in real life they probably would be thinking that. But it just...
It's always a damper when they do that.
Yeah, I guess the choice to give me a damper at that moment, it didn't sit well. It didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
Personally.
I agree.
It was his choice.
I mean, it's not very conventional in terms of...
Yeah, it was... Because
you get past the huge threat and come back.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, fuck, you gotta deal with this, then come back. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Lord of the Rings in the books.
It's kind of like Metal Gear Solid endings.
At the end, well, not really, because they don't have like a little shitty thing that happens.
Well, I was thinking like there's like a long-winded explanation, and there was like ups and downs after like the boss.
I mean, sometimes, depending on which game.
Yeah, I was thinking of 4.
4, yes.
No one has as good of an ending as Raiden. Let me tell you that.
No, I mean, 1, 2, and 2's a little wordy at the end of it. But
yeah.
1 and 3 aren't so much.
Okay.
I mean, there's things that happen after the main boss fights.
Yeah.
But they're not like insignificant by any means. They're unenjoyable.
Yeah.
But fuck shit. Oh, Lord of the Rings. Yeah. But in the books, after the ultimate ancient evil is defeated, done, and everything, they're all going back. They have to deal with another problem after they get back to the Shire.
Of course.
Isn't the ancient evil just the ring?
With Sauron.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But they destroy the ring, get rid of Sauron. Mm-hmm. Well, Saruman ends up going back to the Shire and taking it over with a bunch of orcs and everything.
Really?
And they making them all work and shit, and they have to run him out of town. And
that's kind of funny.
And I guess, but at the same time, it's like, all right, they already dealt
a little much
with this shit. Yeah. So,
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But they had to tie up, loose ends, and I'm sure
because Saruman in the movie died, right?
They killed him early. Because in the book, he gets shot by a bunch of... No, Grima still stabs him.
Okay.
But then Grima gets killed by a bunch of hobbits.
Okay.
They shoot his ass with arrows.
Hobbits?
Yeah, they shoot his ass with arrows.
Oh, you know what I love so much about Rings of Power? how we had this joke. I had this ongoing joke about how they just leave people behind.
Yeah.
It's like they're thinking, oh, he's going to get left behind. I'm like, you're choosing to go.
Yeah.
You're making it look like you don't have to.
That's law.
Yeah.
You just get left
they
behind.
sing about it.
As they're leaving your ass.
It's like, I love the reaction to that show with you and Tom. Anyways, so going through this is the last conversation we'll have on it. So I want to go through everyone's notes, and I guess going through all the characters. Annie, I'm very happy with her arc and her ending.
Yeah, definitely.
Like when I see
dad, when
it's such a complicated feeling I have on her relationship with her dad, because at first we didn't know he was this shitty guy, and then we found out that he was this shitty guy who just trained her to be a warrior. But then it's like, no, I adopted you, and I want you to be tough. And yes, I want you to be a warrior, just like everyone else. And maybe that was selfish, but I want you to come home.
Yeah,
and I love you
to come back.
And she loved him.
Yeah.
And they got to have that moment. Now, when they were all turning the Titans, I was like, I love the show, but I don't like if this is how it's going to end for them. That's right what I was thinking. But then thankfully, Aaron, which we all had to question, what can he do with the Founder's power? No. He could take away all the Titan abilities and get rid of, and that's, you know what I mean? We knew there was a euthanization plan, but I didn't know quite how that went. I wasn't sure if it's everyone has to live out their lifespan, but no, he could just take it away.
Yep. Yeah.
And I loved that.
I said it was unlimited. Amir's power was unlimited.
Yeah.
I think Mikasa said that in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Armin was basically saying she's invincible. There's nothing we can fucking do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And also, it kind of with the theme with why was Aaron doing what he was doing? Love, essentially. Mm-hmm. Love for his friends, but also for Mikasa. But his friends, mostly, I think. And the love he felt for his mom, even though, and the hatred he felt for her dying. And then probably the realization later on, when he got the knowledge that he himself was the one that
steered that Titan
that killed her by directing the. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Putting his own self down that path, and it was happening and being experienced all at once.
Yeah,
that's so fucking crazy to think about. Yeah, but then Ymir, why did Ymir for 2,000 years keep doing it?
Because she loved
him. She loved him.
Look at that piece of shit.
Yeah,
cut her tongue out, kill her parents.
Yeah, he's fucking other women.
Yeah,
yeah,
and loved him. So yeah,
she's raising the kids.
I mean, they're But
I think with Ymir standing there inside Aaron's mouth, watching Mikasa cut his head off, knowing that she loved him and he loved her, I think that's when she finally let go. It seemed like
you can see her smiling when Mikasa kissed the head.
She said that, the love. So.
Yeah, they could have cut the time of her just walking with the head by 50% because it's just kind of funny, you know.
Oh yeah, walking around with his fucking head.
Walking around the head, all right, you know.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, think about.
And she kissed it.
Yeah, that was. That moment.
Yeah.
But
I knew he was beheaded. I didn't need to see it zoomed out. You got to choose a visual language for the audience, and if there's any time,
just walking around carrying this head.
Yeah, if there's any time that the audience could feel any kind of thing different than what you want them to feel, you axe that. Like in advertising, I know this only because of Mad Men. They try to find out the food that they like and have it all on the table. They avoid at the time it was Vietnam or anything like that. They avoid all questions about it. Anything that might make you feel uncomfortable, you want to walk out of this meeting, not just you like the product because you love them, you love the food, the air conditioning was perfect.
The experience.
It was, they were selling it all.
Yeah.
So I feel like, it's
tailor-made experience.
Yeah, so, I guess the visual language to show her kissing is fine, but then, you zoom out. And
it was not my favorite ending of a show.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a bad ending.
No, I thought it was a good ending.
Very touching moments that I really appreciated.
Yeah, the characters all got in terms, and that's the most important thing. The characters all got great endings, I think.
And kind of got his mom back.
Yeah, and I guess I just feel like after watching this is probably not a show I'm going to watch over again in my free time.
Yeah,
especially the first couple seasons.
Yeah, that's just how I didn't love it. I think it was a really good show.
Yeah,
had really great moments. It was well written.
Yeah.
But it had a great mythos. But it's not something like Full Metal Alchemist that I would watch in my spare time again. But that's also a more lighthearted show.
Yeah.
By and large.
Yeah.
And this is just a lot more okay.
If you go back through, you might be like,
I love this.
I know why that happened, or I see this now.
That's true. You could go back and reflect on the moments.
Yeah, it's just the way I am. I don't, as I got older, I I watched the things I rewatched now are just things I rewatched before the age of like 18. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
You know, like I love this show, but you know I wouldn't have rewatched any of the previous stuff unless I was way acting it with you. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's too horrific to me, and it's
not shit I want to sit down and watch for my entertainment.
Yeah. It's yeah, and I think I'd recommend this show to anybody. I love the show.
Yeah.
You know, one of the great shows written that I've watched. In the mythos, like you said, also like a top tier mythos. Like, you know what I mean? And that's different than like world building, that's different than characters, it's different than writing. All that stuff was good, but the mythos was top of the line.
Yeah, I like the material they explore, and it's evident in the end card when it's showing all the cities being built in the future, and they're being torn down by war.
I wonder, it looked like hundreds, if not thousands, of years that's had to gone by, and that tree just growing bigger, and then
and the tree, I imagine it just
that kind of looked like Aaron we didn't see from here up, but that kind of looked like an Aaron face with the little dog going towards the tree.
They made a choice
to have that big fucking root opening in the roots, just like when Amir found it.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to remember, like, was there any kind of definitive ending to what happened to that centipede life thing?
It showed Amir vanishing in the mist. So I'm about to assume maybe she was tied to Aaron. So after Aaron died, she couldn't do anything anymore because she needed to be attached to that Titan.
Okay.
In order for the whole scheme to work.
So,
or maybe a piece is in his head and now it's in the water down there, and that kid going down. That's start it again.
That's what I was wondering. If maybe after he died,
start all
whatever
over
remained
again,
because it was part of him at that point.
So would he be the Ymir now? I wonder.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah,
that's kind of interesting to think about, actually, too.
Maybe the Aaron.
And when the mist was coming off of Mir, when she was the centipede, the big that Rhino was holding back, and then now they're all breathing it in. And now they're going to turn, and we saw John and Connie turn.
John and Connie, actually, that was one of my favorite conversations. Like, they're just sitting there like, that's how it ends, huh?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
we gave our hearts.
And Connie was just joking with him, like, oh, blame you for this.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, and I love that they're like, hey, like, we're still going to trust our comrades.
I thought we lost
to do what we needed to do. That
it's up to them now.
There's not one character in this show where I go, wow, he had a shitty ending. They muffed that. Like, no, it was all good.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Levi, except for Sniff Guy.
And how'd you feel about Levi just being in a wheelchair and like kind of being like helping people?
Handing out lollipops. Didn't the clown give him one?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. There you go, little boy.
Because he didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
He
now he knows.
Yeah. Well, he
and his battle scars. Jeez.
He was talking about in the beginning of this episode how he's pretty much had to let the fight go.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was over for them after those kids came into their lives.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably that point where he had to let it go.
Yeah.
And pass the torch.
One of the greatest soldiers in history.
Yeah.
Well, he wears his, you know.
Yeah. Well, he didn't go out.
He wears his history.
Yeah.
Saw him cry.
Yeah, I got to see him cry, and he has, you know, he's not missing any limbs, but he is missing an eye like Hanji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You call Hanji three-eyed?
Yeah.
Glasses in the one eye.
Yeah.
The way the show decided, thankfully, that, like, it addressed any kind of spirituality. Mm-hmm. I love that. They gave us an answer. Like, yes, our comrades are up there. They're looking down upon us. Or, you know, we can commune with them through the path. And, like, it gave us this great moments with them. And they're all resting in peace.
You have to wonder with Armin and Aaron. Because you didn't really get any... I mean, you see them going to go talk to Parody about the future and, like, what they're doing. And, like, making peace talks. But you don't think that Armin and Annie, you know... actually settle in together.
That's what I wonder. You know, I would have been fine if they gave us an answer with that.
Yeah,
I was.
Well, I feel like that's one loose end that I feel like I would like to have seen because you see them from so far away in that little end card, all going to the grave.
Yeah,
but you can't see if anybody's together. You can't see who they are. You can assume and count the people and say, "Oh, that's probably so and so" and everything else. But I can't fucking see that shit.
Well, like after this, I'm going to go.
Jeez, that's a big fucking lighting.
I'm going to look up all kinds of shit after this because, like, the author would like answer questions. And Japanese artists, they give many more answers than Western audiences. Like I've read that somewhere too. Like they like in the West, you like to say, "Oh well, you come up with your own ending," and in anime, they go, "No, this is what happens."
Kind of cheap,
they just kind of
a cheap way.
I actually like that.
I like the fact that.
So he says, "Yeah,
I like
Armin
when they employ mystery. Something should remain in mystery."
Yeah,
I think there's such a thing as too many fucking answers. And I think this world has become really bad about it in the recent, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
People are like, I want all the answers. They want to take it and suck it fucking dry.
Yeah. And
it annoys me sometimes.
But I almost guarantee he's got an answer on Reiner and...
Well, my thing is like if you Armin.
Right.
Yeah.
In Historia.
You know what's funny is Reiner, I'm pretty sure, didn't he say something about Annie as well? I know it was mostly Bertold. I think he just acknowledged her ass.
Yeah, at one time.
Yeah.
But it was mostly Historia. Oh, the letter even smells good.
Yeah.
That kind of
that was so
I really wish it... I don't know if I wish
Well,
that.
you comb in your hair like a horse.
Life doesn't work out that
They said
that was good.
Pete asked him, like, what are you combing your hair for? It's like, for all the ladies, they see when they look in the history books, they'll see whatever of the horse.
Yeah.
It's a shame that you get to live longer.
Which is, and that's all callback to season 1.
It is.
It kind of like,
All
you know,
of
and I'm
it
not
is.
going to watch it for a while, but if you go back and watch season 1 now and see those friendships and
you hear the things that they say, you're going to be like, oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, they gave us fan service without overdoing it in a way, you know? But yeah, you're right. Annie and Armin, I would have liked to have that answer.
That's an answer I would like to have had because I feel as though, I mean, maybe they didn't want to interrupt what goes down between Mikasa and Eren as being the primary love story, where they finally were able to communicate with each other.
But they did set up a story between Armin and
They did.
Annie.
So they can kind of give you, well, they kind of have that little talk.
Yeah.
They're talking about the peace talk. She's like, well, actually, I was in the military police. Anyway.
Yeah.
And they're ignoring her. So
Yeah.
they had they established some playfulness between them.
Yeah.
Well, I presume that whole group just kind of, I mean,
Stayed close.
yeah, like you remember, what was it called? I only saw it once. It was in 7th grade. Almost called Attack of the Titans, but it's Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Remember at the end, they're all at that funeral?
Yeah.
There's a player that died, and they're all at the
He was the quarterback, wasn't he?
yeah, and it's like, oh, these all guys stayed friends. Like they're all like war buddies, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're all chosen to be representatives of the United Nations too. So I imagine that's. I mean, they're all famous together. I imagine it's a cushy job, you know.
Yeah.
So I like to think that they got together, and maybe there's an answer to that. But anyways, like Zach and I talked a lot. Anything, you know, our friend and editor Brett. Anything particular you want to?
Yeah, so some of the stuff that I really liked was the fighting scenes that they had on Eren's back, especially when Bertolt bit Reiner. I thought that was definitely the end of Reiner.
Oh, I know.
I thought it was such a short ending too. Like, that
Yeah, I
might not
did.
be his death because
I was going to be like, oh, they just
was so abrupt.
stunned
There was a
me.
few of them
Yeah.
where I was like, oh crap, this
Yeah.
is the end for him, but it didn't.
Beak.
But yeah,
Yeah,
Pete
Pete,
getting stabbed.
same thing. Yeah, when it comes to holding back animation, they didn't do any of that in the end.
No.
Now, I still think one of the highlights is a scene with Levi versus Kenny. That action scene,
Yeah, when they're flying through the city, going underneath
was
stuff.
incredible. I know this has switched different teams of people who animated it.
But the Mikasa one's coming through. On
Oh
Eren's
yeah, the
back with
Mikasa
just
one
a-
and the fact,
and then the wings coming out behind her.
Yeah, think of Annie and Mikasa like
sweet.
wanting to kill each other and then like teaming up. Like it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and just using her Titan power to throw her.
Yeah,
She's fucking going through
With a
like cloud.
slingshot.
And trying to like squint
Get
her
that
eyes because she's moving
Okapi.
so fucking fast.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's just I loved it. Yeah, I mean, and you know we always said that Mikasa had to do it, and pretty much everything that we thought needed to happen happened. Everyone got wrapped up. Mikasa's the one that did it to Eren. It was emotional, meaningful. To me, the Armin talk was long-winded, and the pessimism of war is. I mean, I know it's going to happen. I didn't need to see everyone dying and over again. You know.
Yeah. Well,
I
it's the kind of story though that you can imagine some. You know, they're all just singing "Kumbaya." At the
No,
end.
you're right. I
Yeah.
said it.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine like this incredibly beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful ending, and it was a happy ending for the characters. So it's just the overall message is like, hey, our people are fine. They got happy endings. Eren saved them, but you can't control the spirit of humanity being a warring people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a violent race.
Yeah, and
They're
it's
gonna
just
keep
yeah.
repeating and keep repeating.
We need
It's like-
something else. We need something
Would
else.
you omit if you were making that choice? Like, if you could, like, I think that'd be the one thing I would omit.
What?
Was his choice to show the cycle of violence still continuing long after they're dead.
Oh, that he would tell them that?
No, like as an artist or an
Well,
editor,
he kind of told Historia that during.
omit.
I would omit that.
Yeah.
I don't know because I feel like in the stories that I've wanted to write, I wanted to show the pessimism of it all because people always want answers, and especially with reality, but they never do anything with them.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, people crave answers, but they either don't like the answers, or
And
the
dismiss
answers requires too much responsibility on their part. They'd rather live comfortable lives and go about their everyday shit. Like nobody wants to make great changes, unless you're a fucking extreme viewpoints.
And Aaron kind of told that with Historia, saying, "Hey, this is going to keep going on. You're going to have to help." And
I'm glad. I'm actually
keep fighting.
Yeah,
the other 20% that's left, they're going to
Yeah.
still argue and fight with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually very glad we got Historia talking in the end, and I assumed she also got to remember some things as well, with how I kind of took it.
Yeah, that's kind of what
She was
about.
basically saying, "All right, this is what Aaron showed me,
Yeah.
and this is what we need to do now. But it's our responsibility.
Yeah,
There's no more Titans killing people
Yep.
now, so now
He's
we
putting it on
ultimately
us.
got to try to humanity without." Didn't it feel like the floor was grinding?
I
That
felt it.
was a little weird.
Vibrated.
Is there anything that you guys like? I can't think of anything. Where I guess maybe yours would have been the love story between
Armin and Annie.
Yeah. Is there anything that
you get moments like throughout the fight, like when she first shows up on the scene. She's like, "Where's Armin? Where's Peak?
Yeah.
Or how's
Yeah.
Peak?" Like she stopped herself.
Yeah.
She wanted
Yeah.
to first
But she
ask
still
about
said
Armin.
the whole thing.
So the
And
clues
then,
are in place for us to assume.
And also when she actually catches Armin.
Yes, that was good that she was
That
the
was
one that
cool.
caught
She
him.
caught
and
him.
her
Hey,
hand.
Annie.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
you have.
I think you got your answer then, actually.
you have it, but at the very end of it, there's not like established that they don't have
They
a
went
moment.
to live
It's
on
Rain
together
House.
and be a
Yeah.
family. That's raining pretty hard.
What about you? Anything
Uh,
that you wish, like, I wish they would have showed this, or I wish they would elaborate on that.
You're gonna think this is hilarious, but there's a scene in season 1, and there's a bird on a branch, and there's a frog, and all of a sudden this frog gets chopped in half, and you don't see what it was for. There's nothing for it, and I want to know why they put that in there. I'll have to show it to you.
Could be a Tori-
It's always set in my head.
Could be like Toriyama, he just forgot.
Yeah.
He's just
forgot
sitting there, and the
launch.
frog just gets chopped in half, or head cut off, or just dies. And I was like, "There's nothing around. They don't show anybody shooting it or anything." I'm like, "Why did they put that in there?" And the bird flies off. It's the weirdest thing I think I've seen so far.
Unsolved Mysteries.
It is.
Attack on Titan.
I would have probably see Connie's mom. Connie reunite with back
I
with
was
his
thinking
mom. I'm
that
glad
would have been
that
a beautiful
yeah,
thing to see them reunite.
because that was his biggest focus.
But that being said,
But it's nice though that just came out of nowhere at the end. Like, we kind of forgot about it.
yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, he also said that my mom would turn back to normal."
Think about how many.
that
Oh well,
was
they did
great,
kill a
dude.
lot of Titans already, though. Unfortunately, we killed so many Titans that were our comrades that he could have turned back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Especially with when they turned Pixis and all of them in the
Oh,
city
yeah.
into Titans.
I mean, they had no
Sad.
choice.
Yeah, under the circumstances of the time.
Yeah.
It's like when he had to redirect that Titan from eating Berthold and ate his mom.
Yeah, and this is deep philosophical stuff. Like, if God is real, why does He allow this? Like, well, if He wants to maximize freedom of choice and freedom of the world, there are variables within that.
Yeah, that's a question I've had
Yeah.
for a while. It's not necessarily something like, "Well, he's just a piece of shit because he does this." It's like I just don't understand. There's a thing to that. Like, you're supposed to be blessed with the freedom of choice.
Yeah.
But there's also, it's pretty much written, like, if your name's not in the book of life,
Yeah.
like, he knows he's gonna take him in.
He's like
So-
Aaron. He sees.
That's what I'm saying. He knows the ones they're gonna choose,
Yeah.
but you still have to go through the motions.
Yeah.
So
But I think
you
it's,
think about, like, obviously, he repented and wanted to kill off mankind at one time,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Well, I won't do it again."
Yeah.
And then next time it'll be by fire, though. So then
I think it's clear that everyone has personal responsibility
it's like it's
for
where
how we comprehend
that's where
reality.
your doctrines come in, like Calvinism and shit.
Yeah.
Where, like, they think that's already written in stone, kind of like
Yeah.
the Skane that Vikings believed in, or Scandinavians, I guess.
Yeah.
That everything's already written.
Yeah.
Like, everything that happens in your life has happened. It's done. So, that being the case, it's like this weird perception of time, because you already know whatever you're going to do in the future has already been done. Is the idea.
Yeah, and you're just like how are you experiencing now? Are you experiencing everything? Or is there any kind of thing within Aaron that he's tethered to at a moment?
Yeah,
Are you tethered?
we don't enjoy the fact that we can see it.
Yeah, like am I tethered? Like, is he tethered here, but he sees everything, or is he never tethered and he's experiencing everything?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I got from it. Was he said that it
Well,
was
when he was-
all at one time.
Yeah,
So,
that's why I was like, when he was like talking crazy, I'm like, oh damn, that's obviously incomprehensible to how I experience life. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't comprehend that.
Also, Falco and Gabby.
Yes.
I'm glad.
Tree farm.
Yeah.
Their little tree
Well,
farm.
Yeah.
they became great side characters that became huge parts of the story that we followed. But then when we got our big cast back together, like they kind of became more minor. And I'm fine with that, and I'm glad they got their little happy ending.
It's cool that she also had her moment in the fight, the big fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we know
There's
she
only one shot
she needed.
Yeah.
She already
But-
took Aaron's head off, so yeah, she could do it.
It was cool.
Yeah, I am glad for that as well. And Falco did get to become useful, very useful.
Mm-hmm.
And when he tackled Gabby at the end in the background, that was
see in the back,
good. Yeah.
They're rolling on the ground. That was nice. Yeah, I mean, I love them and Connie, all that stuff. I mean, it would have been nice to see that, but obviously we know he got his happy ending.
Yeah, he did.
In terms of what he wanted for his life was his mom.
Yeah.
She was the only one alive, I imagine, because they killed all the rest of the Titans on the walls.
Well, she was on parody,
Yeah,
and she was out in the country.
yeah.
So,
But I think they,
as long
at
as
one
the
point...
Titans
she was in that village that
As long as the Titans didn't run her over while they're going to Marley.
yeah,
They were south, weren't they?
yeah, they were going the other way,
Oh, okay.
right? Because they were going towards Marley, which would have been west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, we knew Aaron said she was alive, so...
Yeah.
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 Guess that's good enough.
And maybe...
Would have liked to see a little reunion, but that's I'm good
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
I was just like, because of the investment you have in characters like Armin, it should have been nice to see Armin have that ending.
Yeah.
I think that one's top overall.
Yeah.
But for me, anyway, that's how I feel about it. It's just that you're invested in that character so much, and then his conversations with Aaron at the very end, but you don't get to have that answer for him.
Yeah, I get that.
You
Yeah.
see him in that role of responsibility and everything they have as a group, but as individuals, you don't really see anything other than for Mikasa.
Yeah.
Which is more or less probably what they're trying to direct you towards.
Yeah, it's like
Obviously. but-
how she feels about him and how he feels about her. And,
Yeah.
When we finally got his answer.
And just, we all knew this, but it didn't make it less tragic. Him saying, I was trying to push you guys away. That way you'd come kill me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was something enjoyable and creepy about these kids speaking about it like that, death like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're hearing like the voice actors put on their little kid voices, talk about genocide. Yeah, 80% of the world's population. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't say that until.
Wait, he was old. He was
Yeah.
because they're only like 19 or 20 in the last season.
Yeah, but they didn't say that until they had aged again, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about
They were talking
pushing them away as friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were
And
talking
hearing
about-
him cuss too. Hearing a kid cuss is.
Yeah. Well, Aaron did cuss his little kid.
But hearing Armin say
Yeah.
it too, I think it was pretty funny.
You cuss. I didn't.
We both got.
Zach, you got a potty mouth, Zach.
No.
Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, talking about Zach.
Don't be a bitch.
I'm pretty sure we both cussed.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly see all the hype. Yeah, I mean, one of the best shows ever. Very creepy, weird. Obviously,
It had just
I don't
about
like
everything in it.
Yeah, it had everything. I'd recommend it anybody to watch at least once.
Yeah.
You know,
You didn't watch it with us this time. You're just
Yeah.
watching us for some reason
Like-
talk about it.
yeah, like my favorite anime of all time. I wouldn't recommend anybody. That's just me. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know people that know about it. A lot of people just know about it because it's so prolific.
Yeah, that's good enough for me.
And yeah, so it's like,
The
what can you?
The influence, baby.
You don't
What-
have to
what
watch
can
it.
you do?
You know how much. You know how good it was.
Yeah, so it's like,
How
whatever.
much it influenced everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good enough. I mean, there's all kinds of fucking bodybuilders.
I mean, this
and
author
weightlifters
spoke out when
there.
Toriyama died, like how he was crushed, and
Yeah, a lot of people did, but he's so influential in the industry.
yeah.
And
Probably every creator of anime. It had
Yeah.
to be, yeah.
I mean, the man's been
A lot
around
of them
since the
put
80s,
shit
working
in
since
their
the 80s.
anime that
Yeah.
comes from Dragon Ball.
I mean, think of all the money he made. All these other artists popularizing it in the West.
Mm-hmm.
They all, you know what I mean?
I agree.
It's kind of like the whole industry needs to thank Nintendo. Like, there's a video game crash because Atari, they were dumb and greedy. They had stupid decisions, and everyone was like, all right, the games were a fad. It's over now because there's so many bad games. They're just trying to publish it. And Nintendo said, hey, no, we're going to have a little seal, and it means our stamp of approval. It might not be your type of game, but it's going to be high quality. And they did that for years, and then Sega came along and everything else, and then Sony, and then Microsoft, and whatever else. So it's almost like that. It's almost the same situation.
Godfather of games.
Most of my favorite games are PlayStation games. But
Yeah, my
it doesn't
favorite
change
games
the
are
fact.
Xbox.
It doesn't change the fact that Nintendo is a safe. It's always a safe choice.
Yeah.
It's always not just a safe choice in a bad way either. It's,
Yeah.
it's a good, solid choice.
Yeah, like they're going to make good
Always.
games that are
Like you
fun.
can pick up the Switch and find a game that you can just play for hours and just mindlessly run like a
Yeah.
By
Hollow-
yourself or with your family.
Hollow Knight, for
Especially,
instance.
yeah.
And I was even thinking back when I said that to the original Mario.
Yeah.
No, not Donkey Kong, but
yeah,
you know, the original
Mario
was
Brothers
Mario.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, like those games were just lightning.
Well, it just got so dark.
Yeah, the fucking storms rolling in.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Like, I'm a Nintendo guy, but my favorite game of all time is a PlayStation game, Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah,
Now, it was originally made for the Nintendo,
Yeah,
but Nintendo fucked that up.
they snubbed it.
But I'm glad they did,
God
because
of
then we
War.
got Sony making a PlayStation, which is very
and,
good.
And Metal Gear Solid's my favorite series.
Yeah, and it's very good for
Fallout's mine.
the... Yeah.
And
Fallout, it's very prolific.
Metal Gear gave birth to Death Stranding, and I love that game.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's Kojima, and it works.
He also made a pretty cool DS game, by the way. Kojima Studios. They made a couple DS games that are kind of weird and funny.
Kojima Productions?
Kojima Productions, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they made a DS game, or a couple of them, yeah. Anyways, like, we could talk about culture and how this influences things, but yeah, I mean, I'm so glad we watched this together.
We'll still have some OVAs that be able to watch.
Yeah, we got a
these
couple of
guys
those.
will be able to, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with it.
I am
overall.
happy with it,
Like,
too.
I feel like that episode...
it got me to tear up, so yeah, I'm happy.
The past couple episodes, the last 2 episodes definitely
Yeah.
got me to tear up.
Yeah, I
Yep.
teared up for sure.
Definitely more so in the first one than this last one, but I definitely...
Yeah, I mean, I've teared up. I mean,
Yeah, there's been a couple.
I
times.
definitely teared up in the past. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
speeches,
the
and
Zeke
stuff,
stuff,
like that.
Ervin's speech.
Yeah, the Zeke one guy.
And I've heard that speech before, but it wasn't like, it was tears of joy and like epicness. Like, dude, like, it, you know, obviously Leonidas and the 300 men, like, that is such a story.
It is.
To just like empower you and make you like, just God, dude, you're just like, you're hyped that these men
Think
were.
about the men in their time that knew that moment would go down in history.
Yeah, and it's amazing and how other
I mean,
cultures
they
have
weren't
told
the
them-
only Greeks there.
Yeah, they weren't.
But still, that story of those 300, because of the circumstances surrounding why they couldn't take more, and and how that battle went down.
Yeah, it just like I mean, Ervin, to me, that speech.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
I got some
actors
recency
top
bias
tier.
because I just watched it like a few months ago, but
Yeah, I just watched it the other day.
yeah, I mean that voice actor, dude. Which is funny. I'm going through Dragon Ball Z Kai with my kids. And
I picked it out. Zorban.
He's the one who told me.
Oh,
Zarbon.
Yeah, Zarbon.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You know,
He said something. I was like, that sounds like Irvin.
Yeah.
Irwin. And
You looked
like,
it up and-
Yeah, I was like, oh, it is.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
just-
just knew he was Scar, and he was like some other random anime characters that I haven't watched.
yeah.
But
And if you play Jedi Fallen Order 2, he'll be a character in that.
I do want to
that's
get
what he
that.
said.
Yeah.
That's
Why
my
not?
next one I want to get.
But I don't have 5, so
Yeah.
I can't play it.
You'll get it for Death Stranding 2.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I'm in that place where
I have
I know I
have
could save
Xbox
up.
One.
I know I can put back money, like $25 a month or something,
yeah.
and eventually buy one.
I
Yeah.
only need like 3 months now to buy one.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
The console.
Oh, on your
Yeah, the console.
Okay.
And Onyokapo's alive. Onyokapo.
Yes.
Yeah.
He went out like a man. He didn't go out, but he had a great.
It was funny. He was shouting at him. He's sitting there unconscious.
Yeah.
Hey, is Annie alive? It's like, dude, he just told you he got hit in the head. He's cut all over, and you're yelling at him.
At
See
first,
my daughter.
At first, I couldn't remember. Like, all right, these guys have seen black people. It's hairy people. I thought they'd go like, "What the hell is this?" Like all these rednecks.
Where's this guy from?
Yeah.
Onyokapo wakes up. Oh shit!
Oh shit!
I'm in the
fire.
sticks, man.
Is that an alien?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't leave any. I guess say anything in the Connie thing, but they didn't. For the most part, he explained and even over-explained.
It's just a really sad ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best I could put it. It's just a sad fucking ending.
Sad but
Because-
fulfilling. You think?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's underwhelming by any means.
Yeah.
It's like it's just fucking sad.
Yeah.
I mean, how it went down for Mikasa and her just hanging out by the grave and living. She was like,
And then
And
died.
like
loved
you
him-
said,
loved him
like
the rest
19 or
of
20
her
years
life.
19 or 20 years old, and lived out the rest of her years
Wearing that scarf,
wearing that scarf and remembering him.
even though she promised she wouldn't.
Yeah. So I don't know if she ever actually.
And the bird
offered a
coming up
promise,
and
though.
grabbing
He
it.
just said that he
Yeah.
wanted her to promise it.
That bird
So-
coming up and grabbing her scarf.
Dropping it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like that is just fucking.
Letting
sad.
her know. Yeah.
That's the shit you shouldn't believe as children that will happen in real life. What
Yeah.
happens is you might get married and be together for 50 years.
Yeah.
And then one of them dies, and then the other one hangs around the grave.
Yeah.
Okay? But not when you're 20.
A
Okay?
young
Yeah.
fertile woman.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen if it's a man either. If the woman dies,
No, it wasn't.
the people move on.
Yeah.
It's just an unfortunate, but also it's an unfortunate blessing
Realization.
of our race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what like H.P. Lovecraft said. Like the blessing of our race is like the ignorance of it,
Yeah.
because we forget.
Yeah.
Well, his was a different context than
Yeah.
romantically, but the
And like they said, we are here to create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because he was.
That's what we do and
It's
create
a
more.
damn shame. There's a Shane Gillis.
Yeah, well, this
Shane's killed.
And he's on the plane, and all these other people. The plane's going down, and everyone's like calling their families and everything. He's like calling people he hates.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm 5 minutes away. I'm gonna fuck you up. And the people are looking at him like, what are you doing? He's like, what? I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna call my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was listening to him screaming and whatever. Like, he's talking about his wife. He's like,
Piss
they
him
should
off.
be fucking somebody else within a year. You don't call her.
Yeah.
Abu.
I will say though, when it evolves to Zeke's pessimism and Nietzsche like philosophy, I will say like I think Zeke shed that philosophy when he talked to Armin.
Yeah.
That's when he talked about it's not just that.
Yeah, he got that
It's
moment.
not
What
just
was
about
my moment
procreating
that's
and
happy
evolution.
for me. Like the
Yeah.
leaf was for Armin,
Yeah,
baseball
like-
was for him.
Yeah, there's beauty in life.
And the
Well, because
friends,
you
I
notice
think,
when he
I
was
think the
holding the
friends
leaf,
are Aaron's.
when he was holding the leaf, he saw it as a leaf,
and Zeke saw it as
They
baseball.
both
I saw
saw
that.
what they needed to see.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, like I imagine there's really cool breakdowns of this too.
Yeah.
Check it out sometime, and I'd like to see what the
Like to
other,
see
what
the-
else.
You ever seen where they show Groundhog Day, what the loop is and where it connects here and here? I want to see what this one would look like. They do
I've
that
never
with a
se-
couple different Interstellar. They show it comes here.
Never seen
and
that,
then
yeah.
Here.
That'd be
I'll
cool,
show you.
yeah.
I'll show you a picture.
And I'm really interested in what else his author has done, and
Yeah, what other work has he done?
just loved it. I got nothing else. Zach and I will pick up something else after. I'm sure Brett will be there to edit. We'll let you guys know probably with the poll. Anything else, Zachary?
I have nothing.
Before the storm gets us.
Yeah.
It's gonna get louder.
Yeah. Love you guys. We're out.